Coming up on Mountain News this morning, officers with the Linden Police Department spent their New Year's looking for impaired drivers. And we take a look at the new law targeting drunk drivers that is planned to go into effect later this year. Plus, the family of Savannah Spurlock is helping another family find their missing loved one by donating their tip boxes.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. The time is 5:30 on January 2nd. I'm Madison Pergram, and thank you for joining us on Mountain News this morning. Now, if you're just getting up, you're maybe going back to work. Some kids going back to school today, so beware. It is a little chilly out there. Let's go to Brandon Robinson. Brandon, some kids I know are going back to school today.
Exactly. Unfortunate for them. It didn't seem like a very long break, but I guess those schools trying to get prepped in case there's any more of those snow days coming in their future. And right now, only looks like rain days. Let's take a look and see what's going on across the region. Clouds right now, again, filtering back and forth. Maybe a little bit of moisture in the upper levels of the atmosphere, not reaching the ground. I don't think. If it could be, it's maybe a sprinkle or a flurry across parts of the area. Downtown Whitesburg, quiet this morning, dry conditions, and everything looking A-OK down there. Temperatures, big swing this morning. 27 in Ashland, 44 in Middlesboro. Everybody kind of falling in between there. We're at 31 here in Hazard, 38 Pikeville, Jackson as well, 42 Irvin, and 36 over toward London, 41 in Somerset and in Williamsburg. Winds continue to pull in out of the south. It's going to bring us some warmer air today, so to speak, for this time of the year, right around 50 for a daytime high this afternoon. And you'll see that on the WYMT weather app. You can download that for free in the App Store and Google Play to track all this possibilities for rain over the next few days, and something we're going to have to keep a very close eye on because some potentially heavy rain is on the way, especially through today, tomorrow, and into Saturday as well. We'll talk more about it coming up here in just a little bit. Madison.
Thank you, Brandon. Well, Kentucky State Police are investigating a deadly crash that happened on New Year's Eve. Troopers say it all happened in the Parkers Lane community of McCreary County. 42-year-old Eric Wilson was hit by a truck while walking in the road. Investigators say the driver could not see Wilson, and he was pronounced dead at the scene. And law enforcement communities are mourning the loss of a canine. Nikki, a dog in the Boyle County Sheriff's Office, was killed in a crash Tuesday in Danville. What caused the crash remains under investigation, but officials are determined to figure out what caused the accident that took their furry friend.
Yeah, and we do have a close relationship with them. I mean, their agency's a block away, and we just want to do the best investigation we can for the canine, for his family, and our hearts do go out to him.
Police say they will reconstruct the crash scene and may do that late at night or very early one morning as to not disrupt traffic flow. Police say the Deputy McCoy was on duty at the time of the crash. And officers with the Linden Police Department spent their New Year's Eve looking for impaired drivers. Police say it is not uncommon to have people pulled over on New Year's after drinking New Year's Eve. They say many get behind the wheel the next morning to go home while their judgment is still poor. That is why they spent the day in full force looking for signs of impaired driving on the roads.
Any stop really can be a stop for impaired driving, but typically what we'll see is maybe weaving, failure to dim headlights, just many of your more careless driving offenses.
Now, police say if you suspect someone of drinking and driving, to immediately call 911. And a new law targeting drunk drivers will go into effect later this year. Lawmakers passed legislation in 2019. It requires first-time DUI offenders to give up their license for 9 months or use an ignition interlock device to test their sobriety before being able to drive. The device checks a person's breath for alcohol before they can start the car. That law takes effect on July 1st. And UK quarterback Lynn Bowden says someone stole everything out of his car just before the Belk Bowl on Tuesday. He tweeted yesterday, quote, "To the people that broke in my car yesterday and stole everything, we had it in before the game. God bless you. You gave me an extra fuel for the game." Bowden says everything he bought during his Belk Bowl shopping spree was stolen, and Bowl officials say they are working on replacing the stolen items. And a jail employee here in Perry County found himself behind bars after a drug investigation. Investigators with the Drug Task Force say this man, Shannon Adams, was found with a cigarette pack full of Suboxone during a traffic stop around 7 p.m. last night. Adams worked as a deputy jailer at the Kentucky River Regional Jail, where police believe he was smuggling drugs. Adams worked at the jail for around 2 months before the arrest. He now faces a charge of trafficking in the second degree. And now to Louisville, that's where a Kroger security guard is charged with stabbing a customer who visited the store as it was closing. Police say that security guard 63-year-old John Griggs of Louisville reignited an argument with a late arriving customer as that customer was turning to leave. They say store video shows Griggs grabbing the customer by the neck and then stabbing him with a pocket knife. Griggs is charged with a felony assault and due for arraignment later this morning. In less than 2 hours into the new year, 7 people were shot at a hookah bar in Huntington, West Virginia. It happened around 1:30 Wednesday morning, and no fatalities have been reported and no arrests. Kelsey Shalhoub has the latest on the police investigation into the incident.
I can't believe this is happening, but then again, with all the craziness that happens at New Year's Day, I'm, not too surprised.
Shots rang out just before 1:30 a.m. New Year's Day at the Culture Hookah Bar in downtown Huntington.
Well, it gets you thinking that maybe things are starting to get worse.
John Horst owns a business nearby and was shocked when he showed up for work on Wednesday.
You gotta see the glass on the ground now.
In a press release, the Huntington Police Department says the incident was likely a dispute between individuals and not a random act.
We don't just have, to my knowledge, people going into stores and shooting them up.
Several people were found shot inside and outside of the bar.
I've been broken into a couple of times, had the windows shattered. Sure, I've had people try and break in the back door.
7 people were taken to area hospitals for gunshot wounds. A student at WVU came to the scene to see for herself.
I'm not really surprised. I think it's very jarring when you hear about shootings in general. I mean, hearing people committing violence against each other is not great, but in Huntington, shootings are kind of not uncommon.
No fatalities have been reported.
Again, at this time, no arrests have been made, and there are still several bloodstains on the sidewalk in front of the business and the parking lot behind the bar. This incident continues to be an ongoing investigation. And meanwhile, police in Logan County, West Virginia, continue their search for a shooting suspect. It all happened on Tuesday near the Whitman community. Deputies say this man, 55-year-old Ronnie Jr. Cooper, shot another man 4 times during an argument. The victim had to be airlifted to the hospital, and we do not know his condition at this time. Cooper is described as 6 feet tall, 6 feet 2 inches tall, and 300 pounds. Anyone who sees him is asked to call 911. And the family of Savannah Spurlock is helping another family find their missing loved one. Michael Gorley was last seen in May of 2015 off of Knob Lick Road in Junction City. Gorley's mother says she still believes her son was murdered and is working to keep his case from going cold. Part of that effort, tip boxes that once held tips for Savannah Spurlock. Sandra Hosta Gorley has put up 2 boxes so far and says she will start checking the boxes once a week. Depending on the number of tips, she will put up more.
The link brought over 2,000 tips for Savannah. So we're praying they'll do the same thing for us and the boxes.
Write it down on a piece of paper, do it the old school way. Drop it in the box.
Spurlock's friends and family also donated a box to the family of Linda Price, a Boyle County woman also missing since 2015. And this all comes as a man charged in the death of Savannah Spurlock prepares for court appearance later this week. David Sparks is due in a Garrett County courtroom for a hearing that was continued back in November. He was indicted in Spurlock's murder back in August, and this weekend also marks the 1-year anniversary of Savannah Spurlock's disappearance. She was seen leaving a downtown Lexington bar on the morning of January 4th. Her remains were found in Garrett County back in July. And in our countdown of our top local stories on WYMT.com, we find several stories that made headlines nationally, from the Black Jewel Miners protest to a miracle rescue. WYMT's Will Puckett brings us numbers 10 through 6.
We start with number 10. At 2:30 on a Wednesday afternoon, a severe storm ripped through downtown Prestonsburg, knocking the roof off a business on Court Street. Sitting in his truck was 61-year-old Michael Coleman of Pike County. Coleman was killed when a downburst blew that roof onto the top of his truck. Number 9. A Bell County miner was killed in January. Jeff Sloan was killed at the Toms Fork mine. Sloan lived in Clinton, Tennessee, but was originally from Harlan County.
Natural resources.
Number 8. It is a story that made national headlines.
we want what we earn. You know, we're not asking for more. We're not, you know, give us what we earn. We're on our way.
Black Jewel LLC filed for bankruptcy and clawed back the pay of more than 1,000 miners across the United States. Miners in Harlan County stopped a train loaded with coal they mined but were not paid for, setting off a more than 1 month-long protest. Miners finally started receiving back pay after months of fighting in the courts. Number 7, a story that made headlines right before Christmas. More than 20 horses shot to death on a strip job in Floyd County.
It looked like a battlefield for just horses.
Donations have come in from all around the world to increase the reward for information about who did this. Number 6. Police say a Whitley County man shot his pregnant girlfriend in March. The baby was delivered but later died at the hospital. Daniel Nance is charged with murder.
Well, you hope you'll join us later on as we bring you the top 5 stories from 2019 in our 6 o'clock hour right here on Mountain News This Morning. And these rat-shaped bonsai trees are apparently in high demand. We'll tell you what has people seeking out these unique trees just ahead.
The forecast for continues to trend toward the soggy side over the next few days. How much rain could we see? The answer in about 3 minutes.